consent items as listed. Entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
Make a motion we approve the consent items.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Schmidt and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the consent items. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, so now we're opening up the meeting to conduct a public hearing on the proposed 2017 school budget, the capital projects plan, and the bus replacement plan. Dr. Camp has gave an explanation to the board regarding the budget process. We do not have any actions to be covered at this time. The budget and several of the budget resolutions need to be adopted, and we'll be doing so at the September 12th regular board meeting.
Anybody here have any comments on the 2017 school budget? Okay, we'll leave the hearing open until the end of the meeting and close the hearing, and if anybody thinks of anything they want to say about the budget, we will move forward at that time and listen to any comments at that time.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Oh.
No, I'm ready to be ready.
You're just ready to jump, aren't you? All right, our next item is patron concerns, and we do have Tanya Shelby listed as a patron concern. Is that Tanya?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, I've never attended one of these.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to know if anything is going to be, you know, if Dr. Camp has heard anything about the fumes from Vectren, if anything's been brought to your attention at South Terrace, or
I have no new information since Friday, and at Friday you had all the information I had at that time. So have you got anything yet?
not yet. I called today,
Okay.
and I'm waiting for him to call me back. The results might take a while. Now I'm still waiting on my son's lab reports, but those should be on Tuesday or Wednesday.
The EPA told us it would take anywhere from 7 days to 30 days to get any results back from them, and they would try to put a rush on it, but they used that lab for multiple things, and they could not guarantee exactly when that would be, but they said they would definitely call you and me as well when those reports came back.
Okay, and I just wanted to make sure, you know, everybody was on board and knew what was going on with the situation.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. No other patron concerns were listed, so we'll move on to new business.
I want to switch two items, the projects for 2017 with Scott Schaus. He is here. He's our representative with Nice Lucan that has been helping us with our insurance for since about 2000. And Scott has was a resident of the North Posey District. His children went to school here, and he's been with us and helped us through a lot of stuff when Welborn closed down, finding Anthem, and then eventually now shifting to Pareto and the Contrarium, and with our current insurance status. So he is on the committee, the wellness committee, that has a representative from each school, and then Dave Kaler and myself and Scott, and basically that committee drives all the decisions, and we just provide the information to that committee. And so he's here to give us a little bit of information on our TPA resolution that we'll be asking you to approve in a second.
Does everyone have the spreadsheet, or is that part of the packet, or just want me to speak to?
It was in the packet, but the spreadsheet.
You know, I think Jeff, you were the only board member at the time when we went with Meritain. Meritain's the third-party administrator that processes the health insurance claims. At the same time, the decision was made to join Pareto captive, which is a health insurance captive arrangement. The corporation's actually a part owner of the insurance company, and that's been something we talked about years ago. We put that in 2014. All we're really here to talk about tonight is the committee's recommendation to make a change in the third-party administrator to Cypress. You know, Meritain, just a little bit of background, they're owned by Aetna, purchased a few years ago by them. And in 2014, when we implemented them, they were the best-in-class TPA. As time's gone on, there's been some service issues that I think Todd may have shared with you previously. The other issue is I don't feel like they're delivering on cost containment as well as some of the other TPAs I've been exposed to. Cypress, they're based in Appleton, Wisconsin. They were brought to me by Pareto, which again is the captive manager. They endorsed them. They don't tell members such as yourself who to work with. They leave that up to someone like myself to bring options to the table, and feel like this is a much better option than Meritain. Meritain does have a local office here down at Walnut and I think 3rd Street. You may have heard, some of you may have heard the name in your real jobs or whatever, but they, you know, the fact that they're local, no one really goes there to have claims looked at. It's, you know, with technology, I don't have any issue with a claims office being in Wisconsin versus Colorado.
What is the actual state that our claims representative's from? We said it in that meeting, but I can't remember.
In Wisconsin?
No,
Minnesota?
from Meritain. It was
Yeah.
out west. Their claims
Maybe
were
Utah?
Utah. That
Yeah,
was it.
that's
Utah.
right.
It was Utah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, they have kind of moved their client relations managers that handle the captive have been kind of shipped off from Evansville anyway. You know, they control the PPO network, so I don't have much option in looking at the best discounts in a network. They want you to use Aetna, surprise, surprise. The pharmacy benefit manager, we use TrueRx, which is a company based in Washington, Indiana. The Williams Brothers pharmacy chain, which some of you may have been exposed to, they're not down here, but they have a pharmacy in Princeton, of course, Washington. That's the ownership of TrueRx, and we actually have to pay extra to use them, whereas with Cypress, we'll save $1.60 per employee per month. The reason we went with TrueRx, which has been a little over a year ago, I think, or maybe the first this year, they share all rebates back on drugs, more transparency. The prior PBM was Script World. It's fuzzy on what kind of monies we get back. We don't get much consulting from them, no outreach from them. And it's good having someone like TrueRx, or actually pharmacists. The rep that calls on me is a pharmacist, not a sales rep. Okay, and he's invaluable in looking at reports and identifying medications that can be shifted and cost lowered. You know, I mentioned the captive. That strategy's been in place since 2014. Todd can probably speak more to that, but we feel like that strategy's working. I've talked to other superintendents in the area as prospects, and they're still seeing double-digit increases from Anthem and the other in the carrier world. So we pulled away from that, and the increases here over the last 3 years have been either flat or single-digit. The things that you guys have put in place that the captive highly promotes and rewards on the clinic, on the near site clinic, you get credit for having that on your insurance costs and certainly the claims cost. It's it's probably the most significant best practice that they would put on a list of best practices that that a member should have. High deductible health plans, you've got 2 of those. You still have your PPO plan. They promote those. You're doing that. Healthcare Blue Book is a price transparency tool, kind of like Tele Blue Book. It allows employees, dependents to go online and shop for healthcare services. You know, a common example is an MRI that's done at the hospital could be $2,500, $3,000 when they're a freestanding facility, like an advanced diagnostic, could be $700, $800. The clinic knows of that tool when your employees or dependents are going through the clinic, and if there's a reason to refer them out to a specialist, there is a conversation had between them and the nurse practitioner or the nurse as to where you're going to go. Do you realize the discrepancy in price between some of these services? So we've got the clinic embracing that as well. Kind of getting to the cost, ultimately, Cypress is gonna save money, to the tune of roughly, after this year, roughly, $1,400, a month. It's kind of hard to read, but, the reason they're not year one, we have to pay some, additional admin money to Meritain to get away from them. And it's not Meritain per se, it's just the nature of, we'll be paying 2 administrators for a period of time, and the reason is, you're gonna have claims hitting at the end of the year that, Meritain that'll come in after we leave Meritain that they have to pay, called run-out claims. And that's not cheap, to walk away from them. It's about it's that line of, roughly $20,000, almost $21,000.
$20,777.40 there,
So-
at the bottom of the right-hand column.
Right, and that negates a savings year one. That's why I'm talking about, savings in future years. And it's something we can't avoid. We have to have run-out protection. Sometimes you can get the new TPA to pay that, and it's called run-in, but it gets messy when you've got different networks. You've got to reprocess claims through a different system. It can produce a lot of headaches for employees and your employees. So we want to avoid that. So year one, we have to deal with that. It's a 6-month cost, and then that's behind us going forward. I'm not going to go through. I don't know if you included it. There's some materials on Cypress. You know, they've seen great results on annual cost increases. They're beating industry averages. You can fully customize your plans like you've been able to accustomed to with Meritain. They have some innovative cost control concepts, programs that they've brought to me that, you know, I don't really get calls from Meritain with new ideas. I don't know. It's like they've just kind of taken their eye off the ball. And I've got many other clients with Meritain that are looking to make the same type of move to Cypress. The committee, you know, I've shared all this with them. I believe there was one time, I couldn't read from here. There was one, I've been out of the office, I apologize, the last 2 business days, and picked this up on the way out here. But I believe there's going to be one correction on the stop loss interface fee. It should have been $2.50 instead of $2. So I'll correct that. We're talking $60 a month more cost. But I had mentioned that to my account manager. I don't know if
It's on there.
is it corrected on that?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
So that's going to be $250. And actually, when I presented this to the committee and they made the recommendation to take this before you, it was $450. So I got a $2 per employee per month reduction on your behalf. And then they knocked off. There's a one-time setup fee of $2,000. That was $2,500. So we got some pretty significant, almost $3,000 of concession to appeal to them to have you move to them. So I apologize for that error, but we'll have that to Amy. And any questions about the captive, health insurance in general, TPA?
I really think switching to Cypress is going to be a good move for us. The cost containment and the script, most of your cost is in your prescriptions, and they do a lot of things to help try to contain costs. But they don't do like we've been facing with, except doing a pre-approval and then denying a claim. They have instead of it going through an automated system, they have people actually looking at it versus going through an automated. Well, this box wasn't checked, and so I like that aspect of it. The other thing is we will be changing networks, and at the time, is it going to be Encore or Cigna, or do we know?
It'll be one of the two.
It'll be one of the
We're
two.
still waiting on a discount. We run your claims back through both networks, the last 12 months of claims, to determine which one has the better discounts. And I'm not able to say at this point who it is. I feel like it'd be comparable to Aetna. And as far as like disruption to your employees, the networks are going to be very similar in terms of facilities and doctors. So.
And Cypress has got a relationship with both, so it's not.
Yes.
It's not affected there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They have much more flexibility in who we can work with, and we want to make sure we've got the right one with the discounts.
Because Meritain is owned by Aetna, and you're going to go through Aetna.
Right. Cypress came in, and I don't know, probably 6, 8 weeks ago, and to my office, and Todd actually came to a presentation by their rep, and I've vetted them. I've had the endorsement of Pareto. I'm confident in what they'll deliver to you guys.
At this time, I'm asking the board to approve the switch of vendors from the use for our TPA services and our administrative services from Meritain to Cypress, moving forward with the contract renewal and new enrollment, open enrollment process.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the switch of vendor for the medical insurance.
I'll second that.
So a motion by Mr. Oakland, seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the switch to Cypress from Meritain as presented by Dr. Camp and recommended by our insurance committee. Any other comments or questions? One thing I will say is I just think it's important to bring up that, you know, I think that committee, the insurance committee is working, and it's been effective since we've put it in, as far as them taking ownership and really understanding it, so kudos to them on.
And basically, Scott and myself and Amy and Dave Kaler, we provide them with information, and they've taken off and ran with it, and so we don't make the decisions. We just give them the information, and it's fun to watch them hash out around. And then you have a group of people that have buy-in, and they can go back and tell the people in the buildings, hey, this is what we were faced with. You know? So
Yeah.
it's helped a lot.
No, I agree. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
I want to thank Scott for coming. He did get married this weekend. That's why he was off Friday and Monday. I'll embarrass him a little bit. And his wife's at Red Wagon waiting on him to get
Yeah,
there right
right.
now.
Well, he's gonna pay the bill.
Yeah, I'll be doing that, yeah, for sure, but yeah, I'm happy to join you guys tonight. Like Todd said, both my kids went through the system here, and, you know, I'm a big advocate of North Posey from the education that they got, and, both are in the healthcare field, and, I felt like they got the best of an education coming through here, so.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott.
All right, yeah, have a good night.
I'll go back up now and go back to the proposed projects for 2017, just to kind of give you a little bit of background. There'll be no action necessary tonight. I have from VPS a rough document of the approximate cost based on trends and averages, and the weight room is approximately 2,100 square feet at $441,000. Reworking the current weight room and wrestling room by knocking out the walls, the bathrooms, and including the staircase. That facility will be approximately 4,200 square feet. I was talking to George today, and really and truly, you're probably going to have 2 38 by 38 mats in there, full-size mats, which will end up being not quite 4,000 square feet of wrestling space. There'll be some other spaces that can't be used. It's too close to the wall, that sort of thing. So right now, we do not have a full-size wrestling mat up there. We will go to 2. And it will, we have approximately 1,200 square feet in the current weight room, and the new weight room will be 2,100 square feet, so we'll be doubling that. And I did send you the document through the email where it showed the placement of the and we can add quite a bit. And wrestling mats, brand new wrestling mats would be approximately $25,000, and then the AE fees, and then the design release with the state, who has to approve the plans. They won't approve them if they're not up to code. And then $74,000 worth of weight equipment, and a 10% contingency is built into that, and that's just an overage. So if you take the we pretty much would have to get the wrestling mats because we'd need to do the walls, we'd need to do the new mats because our mats are up there. They're good, but they're getting older. But if you take away the $74,000, and let's say where money's running tight, and the 10% contingency, and we don't make any major change orders, that's $134,900 that we could reduce the $750 budget number if we needed to. So there's where we are on that budget. With that being said, we've shown this. I didn't pass this out again. We've had this floating around quite a bit, where the weight room would be attached at the back of the auxiliary gym, and then some models of redoing the existing wrestling room and taking out the restroom up there and fixing that. I pulled out the 2016 1782 notice, and that's our budget order. I wrote a note on there to make sure I put it back in my file. I've lost these things 2 or 3 times. In 2016 in CPF, we were able to raise $1,556,166. The growth rate was 0.38% this year. You don't have this document up there.
Oh, okay.
I just pulled it out today.
Okay.
So, and with our miscellaneous revenues that we get with the taxes on the cars and the different miscellaneous revenue that comes into CPF. Last year we were able to have about, where is it at? $1,660,000. Well, when you do all of that, we go over we go to where is that? $1,791,200 when you add the miscellaneous revenue, the growth, and all of that. So, with that being said, if you take out the general operations of the CPF, takes us about $70,000 a year to run CPF. I mean a month, excuse me. I wish it was 70 a year.
That'd be cheap.
It takes about $70,000 a month. And what that pays for is any salaries, any maintenance, general maintenance equipment, for the classroom, the soaps and the mop heads and all of those different things that you have to buy to maintain the building and facility. It covers the leases that we have with our technology. It covers any general expenses, and it's no major technology or any type of buys like that. And then we also have to pay about $300,000 a year out of CPF to pay for our guaranteed energy savings contract payments. And that also covers, we can pay over $300,000. That $70,000 covers the $300,000 we're allowed to pay in utilities and insurance costs. So when you take all of that, $1,140,000 that it takes to run CPF, leaving $651,000. And I've averaged the income a little bit low, and I've averaged our expenses a little bit high to cover anything that would happen. So you say, well, the project's $750,000. Well, the projects were approximately $750,000 this year, and then we used our rainy day fund to offset that. And so that's what we would have to do. Almost the exact same scenario we've been in this year, next year. In our 2017 budget, which the hearing is still on, we're going to be able to move approximately $400,000 in the rainy day. So we're not going to spend. We appropriated $500,000, and if we do any additional appropriation or anything in the future, I mean we have over $1 million in rainy day. So and we're replacing what we're spending, if not more than we're spending out of it this year. So when we start the 17 budget, we'll have over $1 million in rainy days. So there's definitely some money there to cover this cost. So, I mean, there's no action tonight. I just wanted to lay out the general parameters of it. And we generally won't know until we go out for bid and find out what the costs really are. And in the past, what we've done in projects is set them up with a base project and an alternate, and so that if the prices did come in high, we could make some adjustments. But if we get out early and we approve this in September, we should be able to go out to bid early, and early in the winter, that's when people are more hungry, and that's when instead of like this year, we had the gyms running off so late, we did everything so late. So, anybody got any questions about the projects? The other projects that we would have in the summer would be a possible parking lot expansion for the band. We've also talked, because the band really has no place to practice except for the baseball field. They're the only group that we have that doesn't have their own facility. But Scott Streeter is going to come and talk with you a little bit next month. Coach Rinkowich and the band director have worked out a deal where if we would put lights on the practice football field and try to just a little bit more money into that, the band and the football team would use the same facility, because band practices generally at night. That would keep them close enough, because we have band in 7th period, and they like to go out to their facility during the school day, and that keeps them close enough to where they can get back into the school and to and from. They go out there, there's another class where they have band where they go out there during the middle of the day as well, percussion or something, and so they can still do that. We've also talked to Mike Wassmer, which we're not going to do, but he said if we couldn't do anything, he would give up some ground. But we're not going to do that. And then we've also tried to buy ground. So I think we're down to there's two options that we have to find a home for the band. Either expand that parking lot to create not a football field, but to line off a football field in the corner, or either to allow them to share. So that will be one. And then there'll be some smaller projects such as some fencing, and we resealed the parking lot at South Terrace. We'll need to do a little bit of pavement and parking lot work at the high school, junior high. Actually, it probably needed it this year, but we're going to try to stretch it into one more year. And then, at North Elementary, they're going to move that pole. They were going to do that this year, and then a grant that they were trying to get didn't come through, but they guaranteed us they would move it next summer. And so we would need to repatch that area and reseal that parking lot as well. So those are some of the things that are going to be more costly that we would be doing other than the general cleaning and maintenance through the summer. Any questions on any of those projects? Okay. Performance Services sent us, there was a problem with Java, and Java has become less compatible, less stable over the years. This is a not just us, it's with everybody, and I know my wife's experienced it as well with the elevators. Everybody is beginning to get away from Java because of the software is they update all the time, and if you don't keep up with the updates, then you have problems. There's 3 different solutions that they gave us. The first 2 are basically patches that will just keep the interface working, but as time goes, we're going to lose faces that we won't be able to see with our HVAC and our controls. If we do the one that is basically $28,000 or $22,000, which is, let me get to it, replacing to the Niagara AX 3.8 or what they call Niagara 4. That will take us completely away from Java. It will allow us to have the support services from Performance Services, just like with the gym at South Terrace. And we had the humidity going in there. We were able to call, and they were able to shut down the dampers so that we could control the humidity. And they provide on-site support. So we had this problem when we were with the Johnson Controls, and we didn't keep updating. And like North Elementary, it was completely standalone, and that's when Bernie got those dipsticks and you could open and close the dampers by hand. So we don't want to go back to that since we have this. And this is something that Performance Services couldn't control. And what I talked to Eric again today, the Niagara 4 probably wasn't even developed until just recently. So it was because everybody needed to get away from Java. So instead of doing the patch, which is, there's one patch that's $3,000 and some odd dollars and one patch that's $8,000 and some dollars, I think we need to fix it and just so that we have the systems working like we have them working now, where we can work on them remotely ourselves, and we have the support from Performance Services, and we move forward with the Niagara 4 at $22,635.98. They will want to install that before the first of the year. We would not get billed for that until January sometime, so it will not go on this year's budget. I will have to probably appropriate it and move the appropriations forward, but that's a paperwork thing, not a money thing.
We're not doing anything with that tonight, or?
Yeah, I'm asking you to approve that. If you, somehow that got left off.
Well, I was gonna say this says no action, okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
I mean, I can wait to September since it says that. I'd rather do that than not. I was thinking we were approving it, but, yeah, we can wait to September. But does anybody have any questions about that?
The only thing I would see is if we could have another contractor quote that, just to make sure that they're within a price range that.
Okay, I can do that. Probably, I don't know who I'll go to.
Vanguard covers our.
I don't think Vanguard covers anything with that. They cover all of our fire suppression systems and all of our bell intercoms and all that. I don't know if they do controls, but Alpha, who we contract our maintenance with, probably will. I'll check with them to see if they can't get me a quote of some kind to.
Yep.
What would they quote?
To upgrade and install the software.
It might not be the same software. It might be a whole complete different software.
But would we still be using Performance Services to?
I'd have to check. I'd have to.
They would provide a similar quote.
They would
a
have
maintenance
to,
program.
They would have
and
to provide
controls.
a quote for their system, and then they would help us with the.
So we wouldn't be using Performance
we would
Services
be
at
using
that point.
Performance Services at that point.
Gotcha.
Which, I don't know what percentage, but a majority of this equipment wasn't installed under Performance Services. It was installed.
Yeah, we
over
have about
time.
half and half in our school now. All of the new unit ventilators and everything. It's set up now where Performance Services can see the new and old. So if we switch to another company, they would have to be able to provide us with the same opportunities. We wouldn't want to go to where we can give you this, but we can only see the new stuff. We can't see the old stuff. Performance Services can see it all with the Jace system. It's Jace. I can't remember what the number is. Jace something. But we know nothing needed there on that tonight. Okay, next on the list, professional leave request. I'm asking the board to approve these professional leave requests as listed.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the leave request as presented.
There's 3 of them.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the professional leave request as presented. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
At this time, I'd like to go back and ask if anybody has any questions about the budget again, and if anybody does, we'll listen to that now, and if not, we'll close the hearing.
We need to take the motion.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion to close the budget hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the budget hearing.
Second that.
All right, so
All
are
right.
you recording that? So the budget hearing is closed. Oh yeah, we have so we have a motion by Mr. Oakley, and who seconded it? Mr. Stock seconded the motion. Any comments or questions regarding the budget hearing? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Now it's closed.
Going on to reports and information, I want to talk a little bit about the incident last week at South Terrace with Veteran and the transformer. Mrs. Shelby spoke a minute ago in the public comments. I would like to thank South Terrace and Veteran for all they did. I'm not saying that it was perfect, but there were a lot of good things, and then there were a few things that we need to clean up, and also Veteran needs to clean up. But I think that everybody went above and beyond the call of duty, trying to make sure everything was taken care of. And right now, we were talking about the reports. We do not have a lot of live reports in our hands as of yet, but we have been informed by Veteran that they did a heightened cleanup, which was more than had to be completed with the levels of PCB that was found in the system. There was an odor or fumes that did leak into one room. We did have to move some children out of the room, although there were no long-lasting effects from any of this. We did have a few children that did have some problems. One did have to go to an emergency room. We did have one child that later on that expressed they were coughing after that fact, but didn't know whether that was allergy related because their bedroom window was open or it was the fumes. But with that being said, I think everybody did the best they could, and I want to thank everybody for all that they did. And as of today, I feel like we're back to school and normal, and we've been working with IDEM and the EPA to get some real documents in our hand other than what Veteran has provided us to sure up what they're saying is true. And I want to thank everybody that helped work with that. Kelly and her staff did an excellent job. And I feel like that needed to be stated publicly.
We had, just to piggyback on that, we had several of the parents express our comment favorably felt like we were trying to stay ahead of it, and we're pleased with the results of the actions of South Terrace and the administration, so we'll pass that along as well.
The next report that I have, it's not listed on the reports. The clinic sharing, since we started the clinic, we talked about us and Expressway, who we share with at this time, and Mount Vernon sharing and creating one group and using each other's clinics. Mount Vernon has contacted me. They've been in operation for a little over a year. They're ready to start sharing clinics. When they set up their clinic, they set opposite hours of us on purpose, so when we did get to this point, people from our school system and people from their school system, it would expand the hours that they could be able to use clinic. So I am working we have the documentation, and we're actually meeting tomorrow to start looking at drafting a document. Hopefully I'll be able to bring that to you at some point in time. We need bus drivers. Anybody that wants to drive a bus, we're desperately in search of bus drivers. At this time, at the end of the year, we had several people retire. We've had several people sick. and we're desperately looking for bus drivers. And I would like that in the paper in big bold print. Anybody that's willing to drive a bus, please come forward. The fuel report is provided to you, and the state representative meeting that Vince has been working on. I'll let you go ahead and talk about that.
After many phone calls and emails, we finally have a date set. It's September 29th at 6:30. It will be at North Elementary. There was a bit of a problem with the volleyball. I think we have that worked out now, so this is the date for sure in time.
Okay.
Representative Washburn sent his regrets that he will not be there, but Senators Homs and Representative McNamara have confirmed.
Okay. And I've had some confirmations from people from Mount Vernon that said they would come. So.
Good deal. I'm trying to get it advertised, hoping for a good turnout.
The next regular meeting is September the 12th. We'll be approving the 2017 budget. The executive session will be at 5:30 and the regular meeting will be at 6:30. And that's all I have for the meeting.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause? I also want to thank Vince for trying to put that together. It sounded a lot easier than what it turned out to be.
I wouldn't have thought it would have been this difficult.
And then lo and behold, we get the right date, and I think Brett and I both have conflicts that night, but that's okay. We're not representatives, so they're more important than we are. With that, if there's nothing else, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mrs. Will. So we are adjourned. Thank you to everybody.
Do you want to give these to Amy or should I give these to Angie?
She takes my stuff.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
She comes in and gets this and gives me some of it back and then files some of it.